Hey man, how you doing?
Good to see you again. This time.
Yeah, man, how you been?
I've been good. How
Good,
have you
man.
been?
Yeah, good, man. We're in Europe at the moment. We just flew into Prague for the first show tonight, so we're excited.
And speaking of that, are you guys looking forward to play the first show, the first proper show with Elegant Weapons?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a long time coming. Putting the band together and writing the songs and putting the record out, and now the first show, getting it out to play in front of fans, and to me, it's what it's all about. Playing in front of fans and hopefully taking a few of the fans with us.
Yeah. Do you still get like those butterflies, so to say, before a show?
Of course, and especially with something like this, it's a new band. We're playing for an audience that's not ours. With Priest, we show up, and the people know the songs, and some of them have been with Priest for since the beginning. So with this, it's a different thing. We're opening up for Pantera tonight, so they're Pantera fans, and it's like a crusade to get out there, and as I said before, take a few of those fans and hopefully turn those fans onto our music and take them with us. And it's a different fight, but it's a good fight.
Yeah, and when we spoke last, you were saying when it comes to the set list that you guys might mix up things a bit, play the Elegant Weapons songs and then some covers. Have you guys decided on which covers? You guys have Lights Out of UFO there on the record. Have you guys decided on the covers that you might play during these European shows?
Yeah, we were rehearsing the other day. There's only another one. There's Lights Out, and there's another one which I won't say what it is. And to be honest, it's whether it's appropriate. If we think that Lights Out obviously was on the record, and if we feel like the vibe's right and the crowd want something like that, then we'll do it. So we've got another cover rehearsed up our sleeve, so we'll see when we break it out.
Yeah, with having Ronnie Romero, some might guess it could be a Rainbow song, but me as a fan, and considering what you have been through recently, I would say Metal Heart by Accept would make sense.
That'd be a good one. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That would be a great one, actually. Yeah, maybe we should rethink it and get that one together. That's a good idea.
I think would be it's a perfect fit, and obviously with the record now out, from the songwriting process to the album release, how have been the reactions? After all this work that you guys put into the Elegant Weapons album. How has been the reaction so far for the album?
It's been really positive, when you put out a record, in my experience, you never know how it's gonna be received, you just got to put it out and let it go and let the people decide, and that's the beauty of it, and these days everyone tells you what they think. Good and bad, and I think any reaction really is, it's a privileged position to be in. If people are listening to your music and they have an opinion on your music, I'm grateful for that. Good and bad.
Yeah.
So I'm just lucky and fortunate that people are listening, giving the time, and hopefully liking the music. But if they don't, then at least they've given it the time of day,
Yeah. Is there such a thing as bad publicity? Because there's a lot of debate on if, they say bad publicity is good publicity, but, for a band and, being on that receiving end, so to say, how do you feel about when someone, criticizes fairly or not the work that you do?
In that sense, I don't think. I mean, people can criticize all they want. That's part of, that's part of the world we live in. We've always been able to do that. We've always had opinions about other people's work, and that's natural and fine. as far as bad publicity, it seems like there's no such thing as bad publicity. I mean, it seems like in Hollywood and places like that, people get up to all sorts of mischief.
Yeah.
And bad stuff goes down, and but they seem to, give it a couple of years and they come back again and everything's fine. It seems like it doesn't really matter anymore. But as far as people's opinions, no, people can have an opinion that they don't like it, or that's just the way it is. I don't like everything. If we all like the same stuff, it would be a boring world.
Very. And hopefully, if that would happen, it would have to be a heavy metal world, because I wouldn't want it to be different.
No, I agree with you.
And with this tour in Europe, playing festivals and some headline shows, what are the plans? Because you have Priest coming up next year. What are the plans for Elegant Weapons for continuing touring, or probably a follow-up for the Horns to Halo record?
Well, as you said, we've got some dates coming in, starting in March next year with Priest. So we've got the rest of the year. We're looking for other opportunities touring with Elegant Weapons, either Europe, States, South America, Asia, wherever we can, we're starting here in Europe, but then whatever we can get after that, we're looking for opportunities. And then as far as the second record, we've already started, we've recorded drums for the second record. We got together in March, I think, of this year. I think it was March. I'm not sure. Got together in the studio and we played together to record the drums, get the drums recorded. So it's been started,
So we can expect something follow-up Horns for Halo next year, maybe, or 2025.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next year. I mean, back in the day, bands used to release a record every year. Sometimes two in a year. I know we don't do things under the same cycle anymore. But yeah, I mean, the ideas were there for the songs. We were all together, and we thought, why not get at least the drums going? We've got the drums and we've got the guitars and stuff like that. So why not start the process?
Yeah.
But it was important for me, really, when I started the band. It was a it was a band that it wasn't just a one record type thing. It was a band that plays live and records, hopefully multiple records, and grows and evolves together moving into the future. So the next record is just a part of that sort of process, really.
Yeah. Hearing you say that, it seems like you already have a plan post Judas Priest. Priest has a lengthy career, over 50 years now. The end is inevitable, sooner or later. We hope as late as possible, obviously. But you do have to consider, what you're going to do beyond that. So the Elegant Weapons would be the next main band for you? Would you see the Elegant Weapons as such?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, really. That's exactly it. I think you're right. Priest is going to be around. Priest music is going to be around, a lot longer than we are. It's legendary music. They're genre-defining musicians, and it's a genre-defining band. It will be around for a long time, But none of us gets out of this alive, So that's just the reality of it. So if one day that call comes in and that's the last tour or the last album or whatever it is. I mean, I joined the band on what was the farewell tour.
Yeah.
Luckily it wasn't, and we're still here 12 years later. Fantastic, But at the time, I think I would have been silly not to consider what I was going to do after the band because of the circumstances of the tour. It's a farewell tour. That's the last tour. So what am I going to do after? So it's always been in the back of my mind. And this is a band that, it seems natural to me to continue with if that call ever came in.
Yeah. And, the Priest album is is dusted and ready to go, or there's still some parts that still need to be finished?
No, I was actually up at Andy Sneap's on Friday, putting some finishing touches on the guitars. There was a few guitars that were out of tune, so I had to go up and re-record the guitars that were out of tune. But it was literally stuff like that. So when it's stuff that small, it's pretty much done and dusted, and we've just got to mix it. Andy's got to mix it, and then we master it, and then we manufacture it. So the label has got to actually make the vinyl and the actual product to get it out there. So, but it's sounding. I'm excited. I was actually talking to Andy yesterday. I'm excited for this record, and it's not been mixed yet, but the bits that we can hear unmixed, I think it's gonna surprise a few people in a good way.
That's good. And compared to like Firepower, that was the last Priest record, you say it's a perfect follow-up? Or are you going to be some surprises?
It's a difficult thing. It's definitely not Firepower. It's coming from the same group of musicians, obviously. But I think it's important that it's not Firepower. It just sounds like it's the next Priest record. It's different in its own way, and I think that's important. Firepower connected with a lot of people around the world, and I think you can't recreate that. There's no point in trying to recreate that. You've got to do something that is where you are now. But obviously, it's the next album on, and it makes sense in some ways musically, but it's different. But I think people are going to totally get it where it comes from in the discography. I think it's going to, I think people are going to put it on and it's going to blow a few people away. I shouldn't say that because of the internet, but it's true.
Yeah. And, I've met Andy Sneap a few times, talked with him because of Hell and, other stuff. I know he's a perfectionist, and is it easy to work with Andy as a producer?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, sometimes producers shouldn't be always easy to work with. The recording process isn't always easy, and it shouldn't always be easy. And there are challenges, creative ones, sonic ones. There are always challenges, and I think that's part of it. So sometimes it's good when it's not too easy because it's a challenge, and you have to, what you want to achieve. Sometimes it's a challenge to achieve that, but when you achieve it, you accomplish what you set out to achieve. So that's the healthy challenge. So if it's not good enough, Andy will tell you. So sometimes, but there's a trust that if it's not good enough, he'll tell you, and you need to get it better to make it the best it can be. So that's tough, but you're only making a better end result with that sort of mentality. So it's all good.
Yeah. And, when you work with a producer, you have to trust his instinct, but you have to trust your own as well. And sometimes they can collide. Is it easy to, when it comes to a stage where you're very hell-bent in your idea and the producer is hell-bent on his idea, how do you compromise?
Well, Andy has his ideas from a producer's perspective, and as you said, so do we as writers. But he's usually, when it comes down to it, he realizes that we are the creators. They're our songs, and at the end of the day, if we want it like that, then he's very appreciative of that. He understands that that's where it's not him. It's not him writing the stuff. It's us, and he's got to kind of realize our vision, and he's very sensitive to that. So we might try both. If I've got an idea and Andy's got an idea, we might try both ideas and see which one works. And sometimes you can put the two together. Yeah. Sometimes you can put two ideas together and make a better one. So if everyone's communicating well and trusts each other and up for compromise, sometimes you get a bigger, better idea because of that, so it works.
Yeah, cool. And, Richie, we're going to do some no pun intended, rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And it's a question you can answer, and if you need to justify it, you can. So it's I think it's been fun doing it with musicians because I always like to get their reactions when it comes to some of the stupid questions that I ask. Anyway, so first one, what was the worst rumor about you on the internet?
I have to think about that. Let me think. I've been quite fortunate, I think I shouldn't say this, but like I haven't really had. I don't think I've really had any. No, I've been fortunate in that regard. I don't think I've really had any bad rumors that I know about. Anyway, maybe I have, but I just don't know about them. So yeah, I don't think. Not that I can think of, anyway.
Okay, well, you've been a good man then.
Yeah, they haven't found out about anything. That's a good thing.
Keep it like that. It's not easy these days.
No, I know.
What's the best concert you never attended?
I mean, it's either. Oh, I'll tell you what it was. I think AC/DC did a couple of nights in Hammersmith a few years ago. I think they did 2 nights. And Hammersmith it's not a big venue. It's maybe 4,000, I think, 4,000 or 5,000. And I didn't go, and I regret that because it was a relative. AC/DC plays stadiums.
Yeah.
So to see AC/DC on a small theatre stage like that, and a legendary stage like that, then there was 2 opportunities to go and see them, and I 2 nights, and I didn't go, and I regret that for sure.
Okay, and this is a more difficult one, I'm sure. Jimi Hendrix or Michael Schenker?
I mean, it's got to be Hendrix. It's got to be Hendrix. Hendrix revolutionized the way that we hear, see guitar.
Yeah.
Full stop. So, I mean, Schenker's my favorite guitar player alive, and that's just the way it is. But Hendrix, I don't know, you put the guitar where it is today, and so it has to be Hendrix.
Yeah. And, sleep with socks, yay or nay?
Nay.
That's a very easy one.
It's gross because no one likes to see anyone's feet, but I can't sleep with socks on.
I agree with you. It took me some time to get used of sleeping without socks, but I feel much better ever since.
I'm glad you came around.
Another, but this is probably easy, and I know the answer regarding who we have there. But Star Trek or Star Wars?
Oh, come on. Star Trek always looked like some dudes running around in a studio,
Yeah.
Star Wars, the original. I'm a big fan of the original trilogy. So the Disney stuff, I don't really care for too much, except Rogue One. But Star Wars was otherworldly. It looked like it came from another planet. So Star Wars, of course.
Yeah, and to wrap it up, tea or coffee?
Coffee, hands down. I'm not a very good Englishman when it comes to that. I know English people drink tea, but I very rarely drink tea. If I drink tea, I feel sick. So coffee for sure.
Yeah,
I can't live without coffee. I actually thought about it this morning. If there was one thing, sometimes you get those questions. What one thing do you have to have on the road that you can't do without? Coffee. That's it.
I remember when I went to Ireland and the UK for the first time, and my notion of tea was completely different because tea here in Portugal normally is like flavored tea, and it's not the one with milk by any chance. And when I got there for the first time, and Irish families, it's like the tea with milk. I was like, what is this? What is it? What is? And but now I got used to it, and I stopped drinking the flavored tea for that one. But I'm a coffee guy anyway, and I had one, and I'm going to have one next. So
yeah, me too.
I don't work without coffee anyway, at least these days. Richie, thank you very much for your time. I'll see you in Lisbon. Looking forward to see Elegant Weapons live. Looking forward to see Priest live. I already booked my flights to Ireland for next year to see you guys there. So fingers crossed everything goes well. And, I'll see you in Lisbon. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. We'll see you there. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, man.
Bye.
Bye.